Okay, welcome back. Sports Talk Podcast 81. We're going to complete these both into one segment because I got a lot of sports to deal with tonight. Apparently, there's a lot of hockey going on right now and a lot of MLB right now, so there's a lot going on. But this is from yesterday's games, so it's going to be pretty easy for me to make sure. But I want to do MLB first. This is going to be a small compilation of what it is, but I decided to put these two together instead of doing one separate video from the last one I did. Alright, so we're going to go with MLB today for now. The Phillies lost to the Braves 6-2, and the Braves were pretty consistent as far as I've seen to a certain degree. It's crazy how they could go. Phillies lost 6-2, and I knew there's somebody that was going to knock them out. But Phillies have been having a bad baseball season right now. Even if baseball has just started, they have a bad season right now. And I'm not saying they are not going to be the best team there is right now. They were going to be very interesting. But they went back to basics 101. Apparently the training didn't pay off. And it's not that the Braves are not that good. The Braves didn't play their hearts out, it looks like, unless the Braves struck out with home runs and all that, where they could get a lot of home runs out of that, because 6-2 against is kind of a usual team to worry about. And the Braves were not that strongly in the right, but I think they were in a way, but I wasn't sure if they were not, depending on what they did. Pardon me. And, so no, Phillies try to play, but 6-2, that was a terrible game. Apparently the Braves won, and it was like out of the ordinary for that. And this is not what the Phillies wanted. The management, I know they cleaned house. They got rid of their GM, they got rid of half the staff, they got rid of half the players, replaced them with new players. Apparently they got it themselves, but this was like, apparently they're not doing real good right now, as I think they're doing, but it's like, yeah, there is a problem there. So, whatever the problem is, they have to find out where the solutions lie to a certain degree where they have to lie to where they haven't. Now, the Reds in the second game of the MLB I'm going to be talking about lost to the Tigers 8-3, and the Reds didn't do better than the Phillies did. Reds lost their game 3-8, and it was like, where will they lie about that until terms of what they are doing? Teams are going to lose no matter what. But this is a fine example that they didn't play their hearts out, for both of these teams. And when it's like you have to play your heart out, you have to play your heart out no matter what. And this is a fine example of how teams are going to do this to you. They have no idea what they're going to do, how they're going to play it, why they're going to play it. That's going to be a problem here. But when I look at the score from the MLB side of it, and it's like, you think about it, that 6-2 against the Phillies, that they lost against the Braves, you can't really deny it. Tigers winning against the Reds 3-8. That's the possibility. It's crazy when you think about scoring like this from anything else. I cannot understand why. From a dismal standpoint, yeah, there is a personal way to this. I know this was last night's games, but I'm a little behind schedule on it. So I'm going to combine these two into one video. So, but no, that's the MLB side of it. And a lot of times these players don't understand what they can do. Either they can't pitch or they can't catch. And I think it's more the catching side of these teams that I've seen in the past couple of days and almost 3 weeks, a couple days and 3 weeks, it's usually mostly the catching of the playing the ball because a lot of times they'll miss. But the ball, when it gets hit by a bat, it's going what 150 miles per hour, whatever the case may be. So I think it depends on what they can do under normal circumstances to a certain degree. I got some nerve to say, yeah, there is a possibility that it is going to be a problem, but when the ball's going about 89 miles per hour, depending on the hit of the bat, it could be going 280 miles per hour. Range of height, maybe 240, maybe 350 when it goes for a home run. There's details to that where you can't deny that. So that was the MLB side of it, and we're going to be talking about NHL. But if you guys have any knowledge questions, let me know in the comments down below, and see what you guys think about these scores in the MLB lately. And it's crazy how you think about it. But on the NHL side, this is also last night's game, and the Bruins lost to the Sabres, won against the Sabres 6-1, and the Sabres didn't play their hearts out. This is a fine example of what MLB is. And the Sabres didn't play their hearts out unless the Bruins were too good for their own pace. You got to really think. And if the Bruins did play their hearts out, they have a chance to go to the Stanley Cup and win. I mean, that's going to be a huge benefactor for them. Lightning have scored 3 against the Canucks, or Canadians, 2-3, and they won against their team. Not enough to get them in the Stanley Cup playoff, but at least they won their game against the Canadians. And for the Bruins, I think they have enough way to get a potential into the Stanley Cup, but only time will tell with that. You can't really tell where that's going to lie with the Bruins. Now, Tampa Bay has got a lot of plans for next season, I heard, which they're not really happy about, but they're not. I'm not saying they're being gutted or not, but there's a lot of potential clients in there where you have to think on what you're doing, how you're going to do it. You can't really understand why the Cardinals and the Sabercats lost to their game. I mean, it goes back to what we were discussing about the MLB. MLB's teams don't score home runs from losing from 6-2 against the Phillies, and the Tigers winning the Reds 8-3. Depending on how many RBIs they hit. Now, when it goes to the hockey side of it, the NHL, or any league for the NHL, for Canadian, American, it depends how good the player is with shooting goals. I mean, Bruins won against their game against the Sabres 6-1, and depends how many goals, because I know they've shot a couple empty net goals lately, and in Tampa Bay Lightning situation, that was a close game, but when you look at scores like the Bruins and the Sabres and the Phillies and the Braves, from an NHL standpoint to an MLB standpoint, it depends on how many RBIs they've hit, how many goals they've hit. There's a lot of scores here that don't add up to what it is. I'm not saying that they're not playing their hearts out. I mean, any team's got to win. But the scores I've been seeing are driving me insane. They're driving me loco here. And I cannot understand And I have never seen scores like this in a long, long time. Not since 2015, 2014, somewhere like that. And I think it was NFL at the time that they were scoring like that they were scoring baseball scores at the time or something like that. And it's like you think that people can not think about it, but it's almost like basketball scores. I mean, football was scoring like basketball at the point of it. I think that was back in 2006, 2007, 2008, somewhere between there, that they were scoring like basketball scores. And because of the scoring of the touchdowns, you know, and there's always 7 points for a touchdown, 3-pointer, 2-pointer, depending on what they do. So that's NFL for you. That's arena as well. But a lot of the footballs is like scoring MLB points when MLB is like, which is Major League Baseball, scoring a 3-point shot from a 2-point shot. You got to understand that. But this is kind of like deja vu with me with the NFL when NFL was scoring basketball points when they were tallying up 7 points. So it's like you got to really think on what the sports area is. 9 times out of 10, that ain't going to work. But for the Glass Sports Podcast, thank you for talking. Thanks for the Sports Talk Podcast 81 for that show that I'm doing now. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hope to see you guys next time in the next video. See you later. Have a good night. And hope to see you tomorrow morning with another video. So next time, take care. Bye.